You must be surprised that I was going through online classes while I'm in school. But it is a need of the time since we have to undergo through some graphs, some graphical figures have to be drawn. That is why I am here. We have already begun with the chapter demand, theory of demand and supply. So we saw the definition of demand, features of demand, division of demand, and the most important law of demand. What is the law of demand? Explains. We even saw the exceptions to law of demand, where the law of demand does not work. So I'll just begin my lesson today with the definition of demand and its division. What is demand or what does the law of demand explains? The law of demand basically explains the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded at a particular point of time. Other things being constants or other things being equal. This is the definition that you need to quote every time. There are three features in the definition which you need to include. The first is the inverse relationship. The inverse relationship, that is the opposite relationship with the price and quantity demanded. Price and quantity demanded have an inverse relation. Means whenever the price decreases of a commodity, its demand will increase. This is the practical aspect that we have been going through and we have been seeing across wherever you put up in the society, wherever you live. Whenever you go to market, you see that this practical situation. Whenever the price reduces, purchase more, and whenever the price increases, you purchase less. Forgetting about the exceptions to law of demand. We are not covering the exceptions to law of demand now, because exception does not follow the principle of law of demand. Where the law of demand says that there is an inverse relationship or there is an opposite relationship between the price and the quantity demanded. But this is not applicable over here. In the exceptions to law of demand, this principle is not applicable. So the law of demand says that there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. First, the second factor that you need to keep in mind, other things being constant. Other things being constant. Other things being constant or equal. You need to keep in mind whenever you put up a definition, do include this word, other things being constant or equal. That means the other factors which could affect the price or the quantity demanded, which could affect either the price or the quantity demanded, should not affect. That is why when the demands are calculated, these other factors are kept constant. Other factors could be that the income of the person could increase or decrease, because it totally depends upon the income of the individual. When the income increases, he purchases more. When the income decreases, he purchases less. So this should not affect the demand policy of the market. That is why other factors are kept constant. The third factor that you need to keep in mind while summing up the definition of demand is at a particular point of time. This is only applicable, this definition is only applicable at a particular point of time, because things keep changing with the passage of time. When the time passes, things keep changing, which is very renowned now, which is very accepted now, may turn out to be obsolete. So at a particular point of time, this is the situation of the demand, or this is the basic creation of the demand, this is the basic need of the demand. That is why the definition has become that the law of demand explains the inverse relationship between the price and quantity demanded at a particular point of time, other things being constant. Other things being constant at a particular point of time. At a particular point of time. Now, I told you that there is a Latin phrase for other things being equal or constant. That is ceteris paribus. Ceteris paribus. You need to write this word ceteris paribus. Ceteris paribus. C-E-T-E-R-I-S, ceteris paribus. P-A-R-I-B-U-S. It is a Latin phrase. It means other things being equal. Sometimes in the definition you will find this word. Or there was a question last year that what do you mean by ceteris paribus when we talk about the demand? So what does it mean? It means other things will be equal or constant. Means the other factors are not affected. That is why the demand of the person or the society does not be affected at any cost. Now the next topic is the division of demand. The division of demand. As I told you, the demand is basically categorized into two basic parts. One is individual, the other is market demand. Individual demand and market demand. Now what is the individual demand? An individual demand is a demand that is created by every single individual in the market or in the society. Whenever you create on a single basis or on an individual basis, that particular demand will be called as individual demand. That particular demand will be called as individual demand. But when went together, like in a family, there are 5 members. If all of them demand together something, that becomes a market demand. So market demand is basically the summation of different individuals. Market demand is basically the summation of different individual demands when taken together at a particular point of time. When different individuals puts up the demand in a one group and in one manner, that becomes a market demand. So market demand is the summation of different individual demands. The next point is, let us see graphically how it functions. First we are talking about the individual demand and then market demand. Individual demand and market demand. For example, I take example. The first is price, because demand has a direct relation with the price only. Price and quantity demanded. These are two things that we need to keep in mind. Quantity demanded. From the next line, from the next diagram onward, I will be using the short form of this, that is QD. QD means quantity demanded. For the first time it was, I have written the whole thing, quantity demanded. So price and quantity demanded have an inverse relationship, means opposite relationship. Suppose if the price is rupees 5 and the demand is 15 units. Price is in rupees and the demand is in quantity is in units. So at rupees 5 you are demanding 15 units. When the price increases, the demand falls. It comes to 10. When the price again increases, the demand again falls. So at rupees 5, the demand was 15. At price 10, the demand became 10. At price 15, it again got further reduced to 5 units. Now we can see over here on a graphical basis, we can see this, that whenever the price of the commodity increases, it actually reduces the quantity demanded. So this proves that there is an inverse relationship. There is an inverse or opposite relationship between price and quantity demanded. There is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Graphically we will draw this. This is your x-axis, this is your y-axis, this is your center O. This place is your price. You put the unit, that is rupees, and if quantity demanded, I am writing QD, that is quantity demanded. QD will be in units. So we'll take a level scale up, that is 5, 10, 15. My dear students, this should be on an equal basis. The division of price or the division of category should be on an equal scale. It should not vary. Like for example, 0 to 5. This gap is there. 5 to 10 equal gap should be there. If the gap is not equal, that means you have committed a mistake. You have not scaled up your units in a proper way. So it is very necessary. It is relevant that you scale up your units in a particular scale. Same is the case with the quantity demanded. 0 to 5, 10, 15. We'll take 15 only because our maximum is 15 and the minimum is 5. That is why we have begun with the 5 and maximum is 15. Now, the first point says price is rupees 5, quantity demanded was 15 units. So at rupees 5, what is the quantity demanded? 15. We'll just go straight to this and put it out over here. This we have been solving in graph even when we were aware of the statistics, we are covering this part. At rupees 10, the demand was 10 units. So we'll just go straight to this. Sorry. At rupees 15, the demand is 5. So, at rupees 15, the demand is 5 units. So, we can see that whenever the price increases, the demand falls. Now, graphically, we will connect these dots into one. And this is your quantity demanded, or we call it even as DD. DD is demand curve. This is your demand curve. This is your demand curve. Okay, this is your demand curve. Now, there is a question that are you clear with the individual demand curve? What is the individual demand curve and how it is to be drawn? Now, when you draw this or when you write this concept in your paper, you need to explain what is demand first, what is log demand, what is individual demand, what is individual demand curve. This is individual demand curve. This is which we have drawn. So the next point is market demand curve. What is market demand curve? We'll keep it over here only. This is the price and this is the market demand. We take it as there are three different purchasers. At a particular price, there are three different purchasers. Purchaser number 1 is, consumer number 1 is A, consumer number 2 is B, consumer number C is third consumer. So there are three consumers who are going to market to purchase a particular item at different prices. At rupees 5, A purchases 15 units, B may purchase 10 units, and C may purchase 5 units. We can assume that at particular price, at rupees 5, A keeps on purchasing 15 units, B purchases 10 units, and C purchases 5 units. So this can be division that at a particular price, we as a consumer purchase different units. This totally depends upon our earning capacity, our income status, at which income we stand as. So at rupees 5, Mr. A purchases 15 units, Mr. B purchases 10 units, Mr. C purchases 5 units. At rupees 10, Mr. A purchases 10 units, Mr. B, he may purchase more or he may purchase even less, let's say 8 units, and Mr. C may purchase 7 units. Mr. C may purchase 7 units. Might be that at higher price, he may be thinking that the price may further increase, so he has purchased more compared to the last unit. Same execution in the last one. At rupees 15, Mr. A purchases 5 units, Mr. B may purchase just 2 units, and Mr. C may purchase 3 units. Mr. C may purchase 3 units. So what is the market demand now? Market demand. I told you market demand is basically the summation of different individuals, different consumers. So who are the different consumers over here? Mr. A, Mr. B and Mr. C. So what would be market demand? The summation of all these. So market demand is basically the summation of A plus B plus C. So for Mr. A at rupees 5 was 15 units, B was 10 units, C was 5 units. So at rupees 5, market demand will be 15 plus 10, 25, 25 plus 5, 30. So 30 units would be the market demand at rupees 5. At rupees 5, market demand would be 30 units. How it has come? That is A plus B plus C. 15 plus 10, 25, 25 plus 5, 30. At rupees 10, the market demand would be 10 plus 8, 18, 18 plus 7, 25. At rupees 50, the market demand for A was 5, for B was 2, for C was 3. So overall, the market demand will be 5 plus 2, 7, 7 plus 3, 10. Market demand is 10. Now, forget about this 3, A, B, C. Compare this with this. Compare the price with the market demand. When price was 5, market demand was 30. When the price has increased by 5 more, that is 10, the market demand has fallen. That is 25. When the price further increases by 5, that is 15, the demand further falls by 15 units, that is 10 units. This shows that there is a reverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Whenever the price increases, the demand falls. This is what is taking place. And these are different consumers who roam around the market, go into the market and purchase the goods as per their own standard, as per their own income. Now, graphically, how we draw this? This is the graph curve of A. This is the demand curve of A, DA. Same way we will draw DB over here. We'll write it DB. Then we'll write the third one of DC. DC. And one more final one of market demand curve. It will come over here. That will be called as market demand curve. Market demand curve. So this is for today. Tomorrow we'll see why is that the law of demand works on the principle of inverse relationship, and why does the demand curve slopes downward. Why does the demand curve slopes downward? This is a food for thought question for you all. That why does the demand curve slopes downward? Figure out the reason. What could be the reason that demand curve always falls or goes down? Thank you, class. See you all in the next video, in the next class. And most